Advisory Board. The Secretary Sahitya Academy is not in town and therefore apologies for his not being present for this program. And Deputy Secretary Dr. Bhavan is after a while preoccupied with another program. So I am of course always delighted to chair a literary session because the responsibility of carrying the session forward is with our eminent speakers. And I'm delighted to see such a wonderful audience for a poetry reading. It's a rare privilege to listen to our two speakers, Usha, Akella, who lives in the US, and Sangeeta, Gupta, who after a long absence has, to our great delight, showed up in Delhi once again. Welcome to Usha ji and Sangeeta ji, and to all of you who are with us for this evening's poetry reading. Very brief introductions to our two speakers. Usha Akella, whom I'm meeting for the first time. We've been in correspondence for the last several months. And I'm really delighted that, Usha, you're able to be in Delhi with us and that you've traveled all the way from the US. She has 3 books of poetry and 1 musical drama to her credit. She is what we often call a performance poet. And her work has been included in the HarperCollins Anthology of Indian English Poets. She has, as we know, been published in numerous literary journals and is a very popular speaker at international poetry festivals across the globe. Usha Akella is also the founder of Matwala, South Asian Diaspora Poets Festival, and the Poetry Caravan in New York and in Austin. Usha has been elected as a cultural ambassador for the city of Austin. She is the recipient of the Naseem Hikmat Award, the Open Road Review Prize, and the Egan Memorial Prize, among many other recognitions. Welcome, Usha Akella, and thank you for giving us an evening. Sangeeta Gupta, delighted, as I said, to have you amidst us, poets and writers in Delhi. Sangeeta Gupta is a poet, writer, artist and filmmaker, and I think she also sings. But I know that your poetry has been adapted to music. So Sangeeta Gupta ji has more than 10 collections of poetry to her credit. A number of her poems have been translated into other languages and published in famous literary journals and magazines. Sangeeta ji has also organized several art shows across the country. At present, she is the Chief Commissioner of Income Tax in New Delhi. She is the recipient of many awards, including the Bharat Nirman, the National Women Excellence Award, the Rashtra Kavi Maithili Sharan Gupta Samman, the ICCR Women's Achievers Award, the Vishwa Hindi Pracheta Alankaran, and the Udbhav Shikhar Samman, the Hind Prabha Award, among many others. So what I think is unique about both our speakers today is that poetry is their primary medium, but their work has been adapted and adopted to other forms of artistic and aesthetic expression. So delighted to have you here. I think we will propose that the evening alternates between readings by Usha Akella and Sangeeta Gupta, not in any particular sequenced manner, not one-on-one, but maybe start with 2 poems if you like, and when you're ready, I will pass the baton on to Sangeeta, and we will in between ask a couple of questions or have interaction, if it's okay with you, with the audience. Yes, of course, of course. So before the actual readings begin, I request Mr. K.T. Daruwala to give book gifts to each of our speakers. K.T. of course is our very, very valuable, renowned poet, and before me was the convener of the English Advisory Board of the Sahitya Academy. The Sahitya Academy has introduced this lovely practice of not giving floral bouquets, but instead giving a book to read to each of the persons who comes in to speak. So Usha, may I request you to begin?
Good evening, namaskar everyone. Thank you very much Sahitya Akademi, Manashri, Kiki ji, and all of you who are responsible for organizing this. You have to forgive me, I've lost my voice a bit, and I hope the mic will compensate if it doesn't carry through. I want to begin with a poem called The Post Office with Many Countries. It's a play on Aga Shahid Ali's very well-known book. And the poem is dedicated to Aga Shahid Ali. And what I've done in the poem, as most of you know, he popularized the ghazal form in English in the West. And so I pick on the quality of the ghazal, on the nuances of the repetition of sounds, but it's not a literal ghazal in form. But it pays tribute to him in a very different way. You whispered truths, your songs floated down the valley to Amherst, echoed in Manhattan. The streets followed you like incense. You who could not go home, here now, it is here, it is here. The children are in plastic bags, clear as grapes, plucked from the vine. Are they mine? Did you write your poems with ink clear as plastic, or tears? Shall be moaned in rhyme, refrain, refrain, refrain. Build a church within a mosque, within a temple, within a heart, within a poem. You found your home, is it mine? To whom shall we leave our lines instead of LOCs? Whom shall we bribe for air? The children are harvested in our time. You never named the enemy or the beloved. You knew the nameless horror. To whom will you post your letters now? To whom shall we be faithful? You've crossed the river. Kashmir is upon us as rain. We are stained. The second poem is a bit tongue-in-cheek. And it was written when I turned 50 in April, and I'm publicly announcing my age, but I think the poem's worth it. And it's called I'm Turning 50. And I was, I think, in a phase where I was exploring sound and sound patterns in poems. I give a million thanks today for the sun, for the day dancing paisley of the breeze, the broken leases of God's unkept promises, the crochet shadows of the trees. I think it, I thunk it, I thank it. For the ink in this pen, my lifelong companion. For the poems these words become. For the wisdom in simple rhymes, for the ones who love me. For the ones who did not, mocked and rocked. For cuckoo clocks that did not chime. And the ones who hounded me from their earth. For the ones who gave me birth. For the petty bazaars in which I was sold, for this or that, for some petty prize. I think it, I thunk it, I thank it, I rise. And the ones who call me names, who propelled me on the road to fame, who thought I'd be bought, I think it, I thunk it, I thank it. I am not the ocean of many days, just a wave falling in, and the sky seems a shroud of sin, and not the garment of his robe. I think it, I thunk it, I thank it. And on some days I leap, I surge, and laughter is a happy dirge. I know I'm all that flows and wrinkles just a crease of time, and I'm ready for death if he comes through that door. I admit I've played the fool amidst too many wise men, and I'm a simpleton who loves way beyond her ken. I think it, I thunk it, I thank it, I'm lit. As a candle holding still in a tornado, I can let it all go. This life, the blessings are blows. I quietly row on the foam of days. The blows are blessings, and yet I'll say, even though the roses have thorns, and thorns have roses unborn, I think it, I thunk it, I thank it, I don't quit. I've been young and told I was centuries old. I'm old now and growing young. There are lilies blooming on days of down for those unsung heroes and unqualified impostors, and the doves of war and the doves of peace, crisp pastel linen sheets. I think it, I thunk it, I thank it. For this body a matrix of pain, mostly a jigsaw coming apart, like petals falling from a flower, and still it holds my beating heart. And saints have come in the sepulchre of the night, held out palms like lamps of light. For that alone I think it, I thank it, I thank it. I thank the crosses that I bear, the glistening moist breakfast fare. Nothing is what it ever seems. We are awake in someone's crumbling dream. Oh, I laugh and laugh and laugh at it all. I'm an oyster within a hidden pearl. The mumble, the jumble, the rumble, the tumble, the bumble of it all. The saints are sinners, the sinners are winners. I watch the phantom of the play with a smile and cry. The years have rolled by as marbles gone mad. They take all I have, will have or had. I think it, I thank it, I thank it. Thank his incomprehensible wit as he carelessly throws our lives as darts and we tumble about in fits and starts. I'm still walking on my feet free, freer than the breeze. I can think it, I thank it, I thank it. There's always been a hand within the many hands that shape my hand, hands that are swords or sweet words or new roads, and that hand is her and that hand is him. Finally I know I can think it, I thank it, I thank it. I could go today without regret, I'll go laughing every bit. I can think it, I thank it, I thank it. For I breathe finally breaths without tears. Turning 50, I turn without fear.
Well, thank you. That was very beautiful. Two rather different kind of poems. And I was struck by the imagery, post office, ink and pen, pen and ink, sort of things that you don't really talk about too much. They're very beautiful, really. I'm sure there'll be questions later, and just my thoughts as they come up, but really enjoyed the poem that everybody did. Sangeeta, maybe a few poems from you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. Some of my very favorite people are here, like Vidra ji and Kiki. Thanks for being here, and it's an honor to read my poems before them. मैं पहले कुछ हिंदी की कविताएं सुनाती हूँ. I'm a bilingual poet, but I'll start with you. अल्फाज मेरे इबादत का जरिया हैं. अल्फाज मेरे इबादत का जरिया हैं. तुम तक पहुँच जाएं तो लगता है दुआ कबूल होगी. मैं एक अपनी पुरानी किताब से एक कविता सुना रही हूँ. 96 में किताब आई थी, इस पार. ये कविता शायद सबको छूती है, क्योंकि मैं इसको अपने सिस्टम के साथ कैसे हम लोग अपने रोज की जद्दोजहद करते हैं और फिर भी दोबारा फिर वो सिस्टम उठ के खड़ा हो जाता है और फिर हम लड़ते हैं. मन की ज़मीन पर हर सुबह नागफनी के जंगल उगाते हैं. अपनी पूरी ताकत से सुबह से रात गए तक जंगल काटती रहती हूँ. जंगल के साफ होने तक इतनी बेहोशी मुझ पे छा जाती है. सो जाती हूँ एक मजदूर की नींद. अगली सुबह आँख खुलने पर एक और जंगल मुँह चिढ़ाता मिलता है मुझे. हारती नहीं मैं भी पूरी ताकत से फिर काटने लगती हूँ नया जंगल. यह सिलसिला जारी रहे. यह सिलसिला जारी रहे. Extremely sorry. यह सिलसिला जारी रहे. मैं तब तक काटती रहूँ जंगल जब तक कायम रहेगा जंगल उगने का सिलसिला. मैं नहीं एक दिन हारेगा जरूर जंगल. एक और मैं थोड़ी छोटी कविता लिखती हूँ. तो एक छोटी सी कविता है जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल वेलफेयर एंड वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड के महिला क्राफ्ट्स वुमेन हैं और उनके प्रोडक्ट्स को हम लोग चाह रहे थे कि वो डायरेक्ट बिना किसी मीडिएटर के बेची जा सके, तो उनके लिए मैंने बनाई थी और हम सब लोगों के लिए ठीक है। हौसलों के पंख, हौसलों के पंख, हौसलों के पंख मजबूत करो इतने कि हर उड़ान की मंजिल आसमां बन जाए। हौसलों के पंख मजबूत करो इतने कि हर उड़ान की मंजिल आसमान बन जाए। याचक नहीं हो, दाता हो, अपने आप को पहचानो। दया की पात्र नहीं, समाज की आन हो। उठो, गर्व से कहो, तुम भारत का मान हो। स्वयं को साधो, स्वयं को साधो, सिद्ध करो इतना कि भाग्य कहे तुम हो मेरी विधाता।
Yesterday was International Day of the Girl Child.
Right.
So this is a very appropriate poem. वैसे भी आपकी बाकी कविता भी बहुत positive energy डालती है. Thank you. Read a couple.
I'll respond to the Day of the Girl. Okay, so this poem is from this book called The Rosary of Latitudes. Came out 2 years ago, and the foreword was written by K.K. And this poem came up. It was inspired by a little experience in Nicaragua. I was there for a poetry festival. I'm going to shift a bit. This is from Amsterdam. I have 2 little poems. There's the red light district in Amsterdam, and I was walking through it. And this poem, you'll see what it's about. And the name of that street is Rozenboot, and it's called Rozenboot One Snapshot. And when you walk along that lane, there are these glass windows, and the women stand behind the windows, and that's what it came from. Charming cobbled Amsterdam street, the canal a rope of grey glinting pearls. In the smack of it, Wood Kirk, the rumblings of organ music silent, ponderous space of sin and good, arches of wood and heavy floors of granite. Outside in a red-laced window, a statuesque Apsara from Khajuraho, in a neon bikini ablaze on toned, tanned thighs, a panel of glass between her and me. Does she see me as I see her? Does she want to see me as I want to see her? She's in a dollhouse in her little box on a chair. I'm in the hell outside, each of us bartering what we can for comfort. This one again, it's a similar poem, and this is set in Nicaragua, and you'll see what it is about. It's called Peggling. Outside the Alhambra, a shadow of a nubile presence, full men as hyenas dissecting the map of her body, like a geography quiz. Cordobas for disembodied parts, this much, that much for her breasts, for her rump, for her vulva, the cackle of power, the erectile triumph of money. I heard the tale from an older woman poet. From ear to more fortunate ear, the tale was repeated, repeated. We must act, organize, fume at the less sensitive, spit the poems out in controlled meter in the sanctity of our heavens, and hope for a night's sleep. Meanwhile, insatiate marauders snore to be restored to plunder Nicaragua's womb on waking. It's a young prostitute, 16 or 14 years old. So I think that's in response to the Day of the Girl.
Okay. Basically, a small poem which I wrote for my son. ये मेरे कलेक्शन है समुद्र से लौटती नदी, वहाँ से लिया है जब बेटा छोटा था तो उसके बाद में। छुट्टी का एक दिन, अलसाई गुनगुनाहट में रचा बसा धूप में नहाता, अलसाई गुनगुनाहट में रचा बसा धूप में नहाता, झपझप करता कजरारी आंखें, अभी अभी पिए दूध की ओट के ऊपर उभरी दूधिया लकीर, पोंछता उसके कपड़ों से नन्हा शैतान, उसकी छवि आत्मसात करती, अपनी ही कृति पर निछावर होती बैठी है। कोई आपाधापी नहीं, आज रविवार है। Sir, working women's Sunday.
The working woman.
Yeah. उसी संडे समुद्र से लौटती नदी से एक और कविता है, आदम हवा। कमरे की नीली रोशनी में पढ़ने की मेज पर झुकी, सामने की दीवार पर टंगी नीली पेंटिंग को देखते हुए भी ना देखती वह, अदेखती नीले पर्दों से झरते रहस्यमय सन्नाटे को आत्मसात करती, डूबती उतराती सोई असोई बैठी है। नीली उत्कंठा भरी उसकी प्रतीक्षा में यह बैठना युगों का है, सदियों से उसके लौटने की नीली उम्मीद में। एक छोटी सी 4 लाइन की कविता सुनाती हूँ, उनका कहना नई कविता सुनाऊँ। अभी नई किताब आने वाली है, बेपरवाह रूप। आंसू का एक कतरा तुम्हारी आंखों से मेरे होठों तक पहुंचा, लगा समंदर पी गया।
I think both of you are an excellent jugalbandi, if I may say so. Both of us, yes, but this is just the poetic sensibility that's bouncing off in a very nice energy. And what I find fascinating about this kind of poem is that you both picked up universal and international kind of themes. You know, the exploitation of the female body, you were talking about maternal love. So these are things which cross boundaries. When you're talking about Nicaragua or you're talking about a home in India, that those emotions seem to transcend the boundaries of geography. I find that very beautiful about not only the work that you're presenting, but also the possibility of poetry. I mean, I'd love to hear Keki perhaps talk about, you know, the universal quality of good poetry. But I'm really struck as to how both of you are picking up and themes and resonating with the ideas from one to the other. Usha.
Okay, I'll do the maternal love thing.
Okay. You take it from me.
My daughter's going to be 16 in January, but these poems were written when she was 3 years old. And I start with a very short poem. It's called Footsteps. Very short poem. I smell her hair, hoping to smell the moist monsoon, the Indian air. Instead, I inhale the future. Hers is another matrix, the ambiguous grid of a petal. This I know of her. Her body is pure as a bell, toes the same size, an egalitarian kingdom. Dark oil in her eyes, a sea sways behind her conch ears. No ship of mine will sail on that sea. My daughter, my footsteps gone ahead of me. And this is called Piano Keys, and this is when she started learning how to talk. And she hasn't stopped ever since. So it's called Piano Keys. She insists on mummy or mommy or mom. I wince and claim amma, this word, cord of lineage, this word river running into sea. We spar daily in this hierarchy of sounds, language, our capers on the floor of 2 continents. Rich with the sounds of our anklets, the air shimmers with wind chimes to her every move. Go away, I don't like you. Sounds sharp as a mouse trap closing on prey. I become a mountain, looming censor of sounds to be said, not said at 3. Also comes the daily bevy of I love yous, a sound around which bloom entire fields of tulips in which I dance. I anchor my entire existence for the sound of her laughter. She grasps a joke, it skips clumsily through a white topsy-turvy. From this her mouth, small dark cave, mysterious orifice, the provenance elsewhere, sounds slip through, incoherent clues to the moist clay of herself. These are the days I believe truth may have a color, the cluster of dark purple grapes. The hours are like piano keys, and poems don't ache with loneliness.
मैं इसको दूसरी तरफ ले जाती हूँ. Written 2 poems about Delhi. जब मैं 96 में दिल्ली आई तब मैंने एक पोएम लिखा था और अभी रिसेंटली एक लिखा है. पहले 96 वाली पढ़ती हूँ, फिर नई वाली पढ़ती हूँ. पत्थरों के शहर में. पत्थरों के शहर में जीने के लिए बहुत जरूरी था पत्थर बन जाना. पत्थरों के शहर में जीने के लिए बहुत जरूरी था पत्थर बन जाना. अचानक पत्थर पर लकीर की तरह दूर तक खिंच गया है तुम्हारा स्नेह. बदलता लगा अब तो पथरा जाने का भी अर्थ.
हम तो अब सोच रहे थे पत्थरों का शहर.
पत्थरों का शहर ही हमेशा था, मगर उसमें अपने लिए कोई लकीर खोजनी पड़ती है. जो नई कविता है, तुम्हारे शहर के पथराए रास्तों पर बसंत का पैगाम उकेर आई हूँ. जो एक दिन कभी इधर से गुजरो तो मेरी दुआएं तुम्हारे पांव छू लेंगी. तुम्हारे शहर की हवाओं में अपनी अनकही शिकायतों की मीठी खुशबू घोल आई हूँ. तुम्हारे शहर की हवाओं में अपनी अनकही शिकायतों की मीठी सी खुशबू घोल आई हूँ. अपनी सांसों के महकने का सबब इन हवाओं से कभी फुर्सत में पूछना. अपनी सांसों के महकने का सबब इन हवाओं से कभी फुर्सत में पूछना. तुम्हारा शहर यूं तो बेखबर रहता मेरे जाने मेरे आने से. तुम्हारा शहर यूं तो बेखबर रहता मेरे आने मेरे जाने से. कभी बेवजह मुस्कुराओ तो जान लेना मेरी यादों ने तुम्हारी आंखों में चुपके से झांका होगा. तुम्हारे शहर की हाफती रफ्तार में मिलने की सूरत कभी कहाँ बनती, जो कभी यूं ही उदासी घेर ले और थक से जाओ तो मेरी कविताओं के सिरहाने कुछ पल बेवजह आंखें मींच लेना. मेरी कविताएं थकन मिटा देंगी क्योंकि लिखा हुआ हर हर्फ सिर्फ प्यार है.
This is about city. Yeah. Can I just interject a question? No, the issue is that I'm not a poet, but I'm a reader of poetry. But having spent a lifetime teaching, my mind gets buzzing with questions that I want to ask. Please, right? Is that all right? Yeah. So, Usha, your poem, The Piano Keys, I mean, in a way, both the poems are about space and about cultural understanding, misunderstanding, gaps. That was the common thing I thought. Now, in your poem, you're talking about the legacy, the lost legacy, the attempt to recover it through that word Amma. So, just on a broader plane, what have been the questions in your mind as a writer about this diasporic situation and the transfer of culture from India to the US?
It's very...
I know it's a large question.
Large question.
I'm curious.
I think, well, to start very simplistically, I think you're more self-conscious a bit when you make the first leap across the Atlantic and when you move. The question is more, you're more self-conscious about, say, the preservation of culture or identity, and it becomes very acute when you have children. I think in some sense you're scot-free till you have children. And then the children come and they bring in all the larger questions. How Indian, how American, whatever. And I think you finally just find your own equation, really, to put it very, very simplistically and maybe not very intellectually. Because by then there's a certain absorption process that you've gone through, a certain amalgamation process that you've gone through, and what you keep or what you discard. And it does not happen so consciously all the time. It's unconscious, I think, to some extent. And then children come and then they raise the dust all over again, and then you're confronted. But I think life has a way of finding itself, and you find it, it happens, it's like a little river, and you go over stones and rocks, and you take a bit of dirt from this rubber bank and that river bank, and you make your way, to put it very ordinarily.
Well, it seems more difficult to put into prose and explanation and analysis, but in poetry, it does this kind of inner struggle, the river that flows over pebbles and whose path one doesn't know. As a writer, does poetry become the medium of dealing with this uncertainty, the indeterminacy?
I've dealt with it in prose as well, but I think what happens in prose, I can take, let's say, the same topic or the same issue, and somehow humor becomes an ingredient for me in prose, and I think my poems are a bit humorless. They go into those crevices where subtleties need to be uncovered, and I do that better with poetry. And when I do it with prose, it just takes a very different tone, it takes a very different angle. And of course, the way you deal with it is just, I think, very, very different. The dynamic or the tenor of the piece changes. So I could go into, let's say, piano keys, where really it's about a little girl addressing an immigrant mother, and how does she call her, how does she address her, and that whole maternal cord running between mother and daughter, which is just not physical, but it's all becomes a transference of many things, of culture and all of those things. So when I, for example, with a prose piece that I wrote about a year ago, I wrote about a racist encounter I had in Austin. And it had a very different tenor, and it brought up larger questions, and you're not worried too much about the lyricality of the piece, it's more about the social realism of the piece. So I think it's the question of weightage and the invitation for the readership, in a way. Prose does that, because there's always a social dialogue going on. But the lyrical spirit is mostly about voicing your inner monologue. So I think the tenor and the tone of the piece tends to shift a bit.
Sangeeta ji, the poems that you read about the relationship with the city, the first one was more, I thought, descriptive, Patla ka shehar. The second one, there is a you figure and there is a I figure, and it seems like a dialogue between the two. And the city is somewhere, the space in which that dialogue takes place. So some of it could be autobiographical experiences. Of course, it's deeply philosophical and highly poetic. So I just wondered whether you'd like to say a little more about this poetic rendering of a cityscape.
Somehow, being in a government job, you get an opportunity to move to different places. Then, whenever I go, if I was working in Calcutta, I don't have that book here. When I came from Calcutta to Delhi on a transfer, I started missing Calcutta like anything. And I heard that, Calcutta was very friendly, and I was, very warmly, involved with that city. So I wrote some poems on Calcutta also. Recently I was in Jammu and Kashmir, and then another book came, and where Kashmir figures very dominantly in my poems. I have stayed maximum in Delhi, and I have seen Delhi, people have always been raving about Delhi, it's a ruthless city, a very aggressive city, but somehow, my growth has been by leaps and bounds. I can never say anything against Delhi, even if I start करती हूँ कि पत्थरों का शहर है, पर फिर भी उसमें भी मैंने मोहब्बत खोज ली है. तो आप उस शहर से मोहब्बत करते हो जहाँ से आपने अपने को ग्रो करते हुए देखा है, isn't it? You grow in a city, the city grows on you, and this city has so much to offer. आपको खाना से लेके, आपको history देखनी हो, आपको monuments देखने हो, आपको gardens देखने हो. My son has recently been transferred to Mumbai. He's been craving कोई greenery के लिए. I said come back to Delhi. I was being offered to go to Mumbai. I refused. I said नहीं, मुझे वो barren city नहीं, यार मुझे तो greenery चाहिए, मैं Delhi रहूँगी. So you develop a relationship with the city where you stay. And I say that Delhi has been very kind to me. I have evolved as a person, as a poet, as an artist. So I'm very much in love with Delhi.
And you put it very beautifully in that poem, Basant. You're seeing the softness of the city through the metaphor of spring.
मार्च में दिल्ली कितना सुंदर लगता है. सर्विस वालों को मार्च उतना ही आता है, और उस समय आप अपनी खूबसूरती को देखते हैं. तो मार्च टाइम of thing in Delhi which happens to be very.
फिर poetry पे चलते.
I want to respond to your comments on Delhi. I'm here after about 33 years, and we are staying with some very, very special people who are in this town. And this is my first encounter with Delhi in a way. And the auntie with whom I'm staying is right here. And we are so overcome by what we've seen of Delhi hospitality. There's an intergenerational friendship from my grandfather's time. And I cannot believe the way they've been taking care of us. So my impression of Delhi is absolutely at the top right now. I love your city, it's beautiful. So I completely agree. But I have to respond with a Hyderabad poem because you did a Delhi poem. So I'm going to do a Hyderabad poem. Yeah, I'm from Hyderabad. So I grew up in a different Hyderabad. It was bifurcated about a year ago. But the Hyderabad I grew up in was like this, it was closed as a fist. And I think a bit from that grief, a bit from that sadness, and it's a ghazal, which is a tribute to Hyderabad and Hyderabad culture. And the title of the poem is Hyderabad Speaks Tongues. Hyderabad speaks tongues. When a city's streets are pages for politicians, fitfully a flower blooms. When an eye meets an eye, secretly a flower blooms. City of bangles, whose wrist do you prettily adorn? When a lover crosses a bridge, openly a flower blooms. City of tombs, mournfully beating your chest. When a bride crosses a threshold, enthrallingly a flower blooms. City, are your passageways really the radif or a computer code? When lovers' hands entwine, inevitably, the destiny of a flower blooms. City of kites, sending dreams faithfully into a rent sky. When there is no you and I, naturally a flower blooms. City of poetry, forcefully broken into tongues. When an embrace is cleaved, irrevocably a flower blooms. City of four pillars, this heart knows the muezzin and the mantra. When love speaks many tongues, the silence of a flower blooms. So that's Hyderabad. And very interestingly, this book, The Rosary of Latitudes, is about cities and places and boundary and geography and identity and all of that. So I'm going to read two poems with your permission, and they are poems about different cities. And I'm going to pick two very different poems. One is inspired by Jerusalem, and the poem will become very self-evident. And then there's another poem inspired by Egypt, very light-hearted and very different. And so here we are, and simply called Jerusalem. Jerusalem, shall I dare say your tales with this foreign tongue, as I spin like a top in your streets? Shall I enter your gates as you lie under the fingertips of a golden menorah? What badge shall I show your armed men keeping peace, when I listen to a mother calling for her children in fields of invisible ears and tongueless tongues, and old walls tremble with secrets, flags and burdens, and time the deathless watchman prowls your streets, when the mint in your tea refreshes my tongue, and bread fills my stomach, and I walk the walk of Via Dolorosa on the palm of the city pointing different directions, with more than one minotaur at its center, when I climb Mount Olives and see dead men waiting like chocolates in boxes to be opened, when I see the patience and the impatience of waiting, and prophets' names too many to remember cast shadows on your streets, shall I ask for permission to enter? Shall I dare stand by a wall, join lines of people in eternal mourning, yearning? Shall I join my grief to theirs and ask for temples to be built? Idol of idols, how shall I gain entry? You, the navel of this earth, where people rooted to salt, faith, loyalty, 3 times over, like 3 rivers flowing separately between your messianic apocalyptic banks, what message can I bring as balm for your wounds? All messages are known to you. They are coded in your stones, in the cursive of prophets, city of walls, stones, earth, restoration, air, light, sky, blood, hope, tears, wail, lament, city of streets wagging many languages, where past, present, future coexist as solemn triplets. Shall I dare change the cartography of religion, stand under the golden dome and let fly a new litany longing to be rewritten? And this is to Egypt, and this is a very light-hearted poem. And it was light-hearted because it was the last poem in the book that took about 10 years to write. And it's called Another Image for Pyramids. Cairo. Do you know Alexander Siddiq? Do you know this actor? He's an Egyptian actor, half English and half Egyptian. He starred in a movie called Cairo. And he's absolutely gorgeous. So that's the reference. Alexander Siddiq is an actor. Cairo, you gave us the pyramids and Alexander Siddiq. That is quite enough to be noticed. City with a face of hazel eyes and hint of many bloods coursing dreamily in your veins. The Sphinx, I agree, is magnificent in spite of the snub nose, broken paws and gangly length. May I be irreverent for once? The pyramids could be viewed as dunce caps on the earth's head, a prosaic lesson for mankind. Highest achievements, when seen from another view, can be comical. This is all I can think of now in this night pointing to the stars, and my mind empty like your tombs.
I was just wondering if the poetry book is there, but what she has it on? How time changes. एक टाइम था जब हम लोग किसी का लेटर आता था, पोस्टमैन लेटर आता था, तो वेट करते थे कि लेटर आएगा, किसी की हैंडराइटिंग देखने को मिलेगी, कुछ पढ़ने को मिलेगा, कोई मैसेज आएगा. Now things have changed so much. उसके ऊपर कुछ लिखा है. अब नहीं लाते कबूतर उनका संदेश. अब नहीं लाते कबूतर उनका संदेश. कई कई दिनों की प्रतीक्षा के बाद डाकिया लाता नहीं प्रेम पत्र. अब नहीं लाते कबूतर उनका संदेश. कई कई दिनों की प्रतीक्षा के बाद डाकिया लाता नहीं प्रेम पत्र, ईमेल किया जाता, कई कई बार भेजे जाते ई कार्ड और मोबाइल पर एसएमएस। कंप्यूटर की गति से होता है प्रेम, कोई कहाँ करता है प्रतीक्षा। भूल चुके हैं हम अब प्रतीक्षा का सुख। So that waiting is no more there.
Both the joy and the pain of waiting.
The pain also is beautiful there. इसी तरह की कुछ मॉडर्न गैजेट्स के बारे में। सुख जो तुमने दिया, जी चाहता है डीप फ्रीजर में सहेज कर रख दूं उसे। सुख जो तुमने दिया, जी चाहता है डीप फ्रीजर में सहेज कर रख दूं उसे। गाहे बगाहे आड़े वक्त जब जीना बेमानी लगे, उसका एक टुकड़ा माइक्रोवेव में गरमा लूं। भर लूं उसकी ऊर्जा अपनी सर्द सांसों में। ताजा दम हो निकल पड़ूं फिर जीवन से आंखें चार करने। एक पोएम मैं फिर औरतों पे आ रही हूँ। मुझे लगता है कि जो वायलेंस होता है वो कुछ औरतें उसको सहती ज़्यादा है और दूसरी तरफ से ज़्यादा होता है। नहीं छेड़ती औरतें भीड़ भरी बस में या राह चलते आदमी को। नहीं छेड़ती औरतें भीड़ भरी बस में या राह चलते आदमी को। न फाड़ती हैं उनके कपड़े, न करती हैं उनका बलात्कार। खो जाता है उनका प्रतिरोध खूंखार समाज के संवेद शोर में। बस डबडबाई आंखों से देखती रहती हैं घटता हुआ अघटनीय, और लज्जित होती हैं अपने ही गर्भ से उपजे आदम पर, जो नहीं जानता कि वह उतना क्रूर क्यों है। इतना क्रूर क्यों है। आधी दुनिया की मालिक बहुत सोचती है, थक जाती है और क्षमा कर देती है अंततः बीमार कमजोर आदमी को। औरतों के बारे में ये एक और सुना देती हूँ ताकि आगे देखा जाए कि वो उषा उसको कहाँ ले जाती है। राख के ढेर में दबा छुपा अंगार हूँ। राख के ढेर में दबा छुपा अंगार हूँ। लगभग बुझते भी सुलग उठती हूँ। गीली लकड़ी सी जिंदगी में यक बायक लौट आती हूँ लपटों से, ताकि उदास सीले से मौसम में महसूस हो तुम गर्माहट मेरी आँच तुम तक पहुँचे। जब तक बुझते भी जलती हूँ फिर बुझ जाऊँ, चुप जाऊँ मैं वो आग में।
This poem is titled The Rosary of Latitudes, from the title of the book, and I'll read it and you will figure out what it is. If I told you I have been shown cities like a procession of bejeweled elephants of ponderous gait, and the earth took their load, and the latitudes passed under my feet like skipping ropes under a young girl's quick step. If I told you in one city I sat on the steps of a great plaza, and watch humanity as if for the very last time. In many cities, I stood in long lines for darshan. My devotion was the eye that looked at the stone for awakening. I make this confession. I was taken on a ferry ride to see tiny islands afloat on water like spilled mustard seeds. If I told you on one such island, I knew I was more alone than any of them. In another city where a river is a silent vein in the skin of a lake, a poet tried hard to light the unlit wicks of my eyes. They only gave out the smoke of incense at funeral rites. In one town high in a mountain plastered with porcelain plates, such places exist. In such a town where anything could happen, I walked with the poet and we walked as two sides of a ravine with no connecting bridge. In one city I thought I lost love. The streets of that city became the lines of a ghazal, mourning repeatedly. In that city again I learned I lost nothing. I found myself at the borders of that city when I left it. In one city I saw monuments of loveliness rise from my imagination and hover in the twilight like rose-tinted pearls. I walked through the pages of the Arabian Nights. The things I saw in that land filled my pockets with dreams to hand out. Yet the city was not a magic lamp to rub and wish for the beloved. It merely twirled in its dervish robes, lost on its own axis. In one city I walked, hoping to see him somewhere, and then I looked in another city, and another and another. I returned empty-handed. There were cities that would not meet my gaze. Not one of them told me to stop looking. Not one of them says it yearns for me. If I told you of the lovers searching, and the lovers thinking they have found, and the lovers making by, and the lovers deluded, and the lovers sullen and silent, and the lovers like the soundless strings of violins, in these cities and I safe in the fortress of my skin. If I tell you I have been sinless and heavy-hearted for it, if I told you all the latitudes are the unread lines of my love letter.
Oh, it is about a love letter. Wonderful.
So we'll have Sangeeta ji, and then I'm sure people are waiting to ask you a question, both of you.
Then let me read a better poem.
No, this is true read.
Okay. रूह रोशनी में नहाए, रूह रोशनी में नहाए, बाहर तुम्हें गले लगाए, चलो कि राह अभी बाकी है, अगले मोड़ पर मोहब्बत अब भी तुम्हारा इंतजार करती है। रूह रोशनी में नहाए, बाहर तुम्हें गले लगाए, चलो कि राह अभी बाकी है, अगले मोड़ पर मोहब्बत अब भी तुम्हारा इंतजार करती है। यूं बेजार न हो जिंदगी से, न खुद से यूं खफा हो, मुस्कुराओ मुस्कुराओ कि अब भी तुम्हारे हंसने से फूल झड़ते हैं, कलियां खिलती हैं, अब भी तुम्हारी यादों के हर सिंगार किसी के आंगन में बदस्तूर झड़ते हैं। तुम्हें इल्म ना हो शायद, मोहब्बत अब भी कोई तुमसे शिद्दत से करता है। Talking about love, so I thought क्वेश्चन के लिए एक पढ़ते हैं। अच्छा,
फिर हम आगे सवाल।
मेरी जो नई किताब आ रही है बेपरवाह रूह, जिसका फॉरवर्ड स्मिता जी ने लिखा है, और मैं उसका कवर भी ले आई थी कि स्मिता जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूँगी कि वो सबको दिखाएं। उसकी जो कुछ कविताएं हैं उसमें मैंने रूह के बारे में तो बहुत कुछ लिखा ही जाता है, मतलब जिस्म की भी अपनी एक बड़ी भूमिका होती है। The body is also very important. जिस्म जलते सुलगते, हर रोग शोक चुपचाप सहते, रूह का क्या? वह तो इन सब से परे है। उसे कुछ भी नहीं सालता न छूता। वक्त जिस्म से गुजरता पर रूह तक नहीं पहुंचता। जिस्म थकता, सोता, जागता, रूह इन सब से बेखबर ही रहती है। जिस्म की हदों में महफूज रूह बेखौफ बेहद बनी रहती। जिस्म की वफा मोहब्बत सब रुसवा कर एक दिन सिर्फ मेरी रूह किसी और जिस्म की तलाश में बेपरवाह बेसाख्ता चल देती। इस पोएम से खत्म करूंगी। सदियों बाद तुम्हें देखा, सदियों बाद तुम्हें देखा तो लगा सीने में दफन मोहब्बत राख नहीं हुई। उसकी आज तुम्हारे सीने से मुझ तक पहुंच सुलग रही। कुछ खत्म नहीं होता, न वफा न मोहब्बत, बस वक्त हमारा नहीं होता। कुछ खत्म नहीं होता, न वफा न मोहब्बत, बस वक्त हमारा नहीं होता। कहीं न कहीं बीज वफा के बगावत करते, वक्त को रुसवा करते, अकुराते, फूलते, फलते, आंखें नीचने, मुंह फेरने और दूर जाने से रूह के रिश्ते नहीं मिटते। बस गुजरी सदियों का इतिहास चेहरों पर दिख जाता। देह के पार रूह रोशन रहती सदा। मोहब्बत के मिटने मिटाने में कई जन्म लगते शायद। रेत पर लिखा हर्फ तो नहीं मोहब्बत, जिसे समय का सागर छू कर बना कर दे। रेत पर लिखा हर्फ तो नहीं मोहब्बत, जिसे समय का सागर छू कर बना कर दे।
Well, it's been a splendid set of readings from both Usha, Akella and Sangeeta, Gupta. We have a large audience today and everybody's listened with rapt attention. I'm sure there are comments, questions to both our poets and maybe some thoughts to offer. But may I request everyone to keep it very brief so that we can get lots of voices into this. Of course. Sure.
Release this book cover which is in the offing.
Please. कब निकल रही है किताब?
इस मंथ के एंड में आ जाएगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। Thank you so much.
पेंटिंग इनकी अपनी है। जब प्रकार नहीं है ना तो पेंटिंग इज हर्स।
The painting is yours. Sangeeta ji is a poet. She's a painter. She's had several shows. So this is beautiful. Are there paintings inside the book also?
Not much.
अच्छा, but the cover is yours. Very good. कब निकल रही है किताब?
End of October. We like it.
Very nice. End of October.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Katie, any comments that you'd like to begin the discussion with? Any comments with which you'd like to open the discussion, or you'll come in somewhere as you go along?
सुनने में प्रॉब्लम है।
हम आपको सुनेंगे, हम आपको सुनेंगे। बोलिए, the floor is open. Yes, beautiful audience. बोलो कल्याणी, budding poet. हमारी छात्री भी थी और पोएट भी है, अब हमारी कॉलीग है।
I'm just so delighted to be here today because, to be really honest, I be here.
It's all being recorded.
But I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I'm so delighted that the way it progressed, the Jugalbandi is beautiful. And I just, especially after the comments for both of you at the beginning with Usha ji, I was really, impressed by this one about Hyderabad and the native city and the multiple tongues that you are. I wanted to say a little more about how exactly this poem is being.
Well, the emotion was a bit of grief, I think, because it's not the city of my childhood anymore. I grew up in a very different childhood, a very different Hyderabad, a very innocent Hyderabad. And when I come back, I think this happens to all immigrants. You freeze your India and your city at the time you leave it. And then when you come back with every decade, there are leaps that happen beyond your imagination. And so when I come to Hyderabad now, when I go back to Austin is my little village that I run back to. The city has changed so much beyond my grasp. And of course, the bifurcation of the state, Hyderabad, a split city, and the city of, and of course it's a human tendency, you romanticize things of the past. I'm sure there were things happening that were not so pleasant or not so palpable, but you tend to, with distance, romanticize things. And you definitely romanticize the city of your childhood, the city of your youth, the city where you fall in love for the first time, the city where you play with your friends and you play with your brother and you go across to the neighbors for Ramzan or Diwali, and all of that's lost now. You know, we live in a very different time, and it's lost even in India to some extent, that's what I find. And so I was mourning all of that, and I was also painting, I think, what were snapshots which represented Hyderabad to me. The Kite Festival, the Bangle Bazaar in Charminar, the ghazals, I mean, just the cuisine, all of it. And so that's where it came. And I was, of course, learning how to write ghazals in English, failing at some of them.
No, they're beautiful. The flower of the ghazal is blooming very well. And Sangeeta ji, आपकी जो छुट्टी का एक दिन कविता है, वो रह रहकर मेरे अभी तो शादी भी नहीं हुई है, एक वर्किंग वुमन, और जब वो घर जाती है जिस तरीके से उसके जहन में ख्यालात पूरे दिन, तो वो ना इसी दौरान मैंने कई कविताएं इस तरह की पढ़ी जो ना वो औरत पूरा काम की रह पाती है ना घर की रह पाती है, मतलब ना घर की ना बाहर की, दोनों को जब बाहर रहती है तो घर उसके दिल को कचोट रहा होता है कि क्या चल रहा होगा घर में, और जब घर में होती है तो काम की चिंता दिमाग में रहती है। तो ये जो एक जद्दोजहद हमेशा चलती रहती है, इसी बात में कुछ
आपका सवाल जो है उसका जवाब देने वाली औरत मैं वो वाली औरत नहीं हूँ जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में रहती है। What I do is wherever I am, I'm 100%. If I'm in my office, I'm 100% an officer, और वो भी बड़ा कड़क वाला। और जब मैं घर आ जाती हूँ तो मैं अपना फोन चाहती हूँ कि मेरे पास ऑफिस से कोई फोन भी ना आए, मैं कुछ भी ना करूँ, मैं I can really switch off. So मेरे को ये प्रॉब्लम कभी नहीं हुई, और मेरे को कभी इस बात का गिल्ट ही नहीं हुआ कि मेरा बेटा ज़्यादा समय मेरे साथ नहीं रहता है। मैंने सोचा कि जब भी रहता है मैं उसको इतना ज़्यादा पैम्पर करूँगी, इतना ज़्यादा अपना डेमो करूँगी अपने लव का, कि ताकि वो उतने से ही फुलफिल रहे। हाँ, फिर उसमें रख ले, अपना पढ़ाई निकाले, माइक्रोवेव का
एक्सपीरियंसेस काफी अलग हैं। जैसे जिस तरह से मेरा सवाल आ रहा है वो ऐसे है कि उस समय में मतलब जब शायद आपने अपना करियर शुरू किया होगा, उस समय इस तरीके का कनेक्टिविटी नहीं थी जो अब है। तो आप जहाँ भी हैं, जिस समय में अभी लाइव रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है, it's always at you. You can never segregate yourself as 100% here or 100% there. that's the kind of experience that I am facing right now as somebody who is also a poet, as somebody who is also a working woman, as somebody who is a daughter, and who is, split between all these roles, and a mentor, teacher, It just completely, and bringing all of that to my poetic sensibility is something that I really struggle and grapple with over and over again.
You are a young poet, so I will advise you अपना एक notebook kitchen में भी रख दो, एक अपना bed के side में रख दो, एक अपने office वाले जो भी अपना college का bag है उसमें भी रख दो. Poetry तो ऐसे आती है तो आप उसको रोक ही नहीं सकते हो. Poetry के लिए I think मैंने तो ऐसे ही poems लिखे हैं. When I am in a traffic jam, मैं गाड़ी में बैठी हूँ और कुछ नहीं कर सकती तो कुछ आ गया दिमाग में तो लिख दिया. Kitchen में रखा हुआ है notebook कहीं भी रखा हुआ है because वो thought it's a fleeting thought. For a poet, it will go away. So poetry तो मैंने ऐसे लिखी है. मैं आपको जान के हंसी आएगी कि मेरी एक short story का collection है. वो मैंने उसके बाद कोई short story लिखना छोड़ दिया. Because prose लिखने के लिए जो discipline चाहिए और जो time चाहिए वो मेरे पास अक्सर नहीं होता है. फिर बीच में एक book सवाल हुआ painting करने का और painting तो इतनी time consuming वो आपका वो इतना time consume करती है कि वो तो आपको किसी और चीज के लायक ही नहीं छोड़ती है. बीच में बहुत साल मैंने 5-6 साल तक मैंने कुछ भी नहीं लिखा, मतलब कोई किताब नहीं आई. तो एक लंबा गैप हुआ. अब मेरे अंदर से फिर मेरा पोएट फिर से अब वो थोड़ा वो ज्यादा वो गया. तो ऐसा एक फेजेस में होगा, कभी लिखा जाएगा कभी नहीं लिखा जाएगा. इट इज ऑल पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ एंड अ वुमन इज aligned to be a multitasker. उसका तो माइंड ही aligned भगवान ने ऐसे ही पैदा ही किया है. वो multitasker होती है. वही माँ है, वही खाना भी बनाएगी, वो शॉपिंग करके वेजिटेबल्स भी ला सकती है, सब कुछ कर लेगी. ऑफिसर भी ये क्वालिटी भगवान ने सब आदमियों को दे दी है. वो सिंगल ट्रैक पे रहते हैं, ऑफिस जाते हैं, काम करते हैं, घर आते हैं, टीवी देखते हैं, खाना खाते हैं और सो जाते हैं. वैसा ज्यादातर लोग ये करते हैं. मैं जेनरिक टर्म में बात नहीं कर, मतलब कुछ लोग ये भी करते हैं. तो multitasker woman by nature or by the intrinsic DNA औरत multitasker होती है तो हो जाएगा, तुम्हारा भी हो जाएगा.
Thank you so much.
और कोई पूछे?
I just want to one comment I wanted to make that when you talking about Jugalbandi, they're entirely different kind of poems. Usha's poems and Sangeeta's. These poems are very direct and they're very direct, like the feelings they convey are immediate. But Usha's poems are very abstract, and basically the city poems are more about love, and the love poems are more about cities. And Hyderabad particularly, I'm not from Hyderabad, but it's one of the cities I like, and I visited Hyderabad a number of times. I'm one of those people I never feel nostalgic about the city, never. But I do know that every city has a soul. And that soul is not the sum of the souls of the people who live in it. It's different. It develops over time, but it transcends people. And that soul is there. So you enjoy each city's soul. And the soul comes to you. You see it in the twilight, usually. Daytime is too much light. Night is dark. But this is that time, when the day and night meet, that you see the soul of the city for you. And that's the time to see the city, to feel the city. And that's the time to also feel love and also feel people. And Usha's poems like that way are to be read. You can't really understand them by listening to them once. But Sangeeta's poems hit you directly. Like after all she's an income tax commissioner. She knows how to hit you. But this new book of hers, I was teasing her that where does the secret love come from? These lines. That's what prompted me to write the poem. अल्फाज मेरी इबादत का ज़रिया हैं, तुम तक पहुँच जाएं तो लगता है दुआ कबूल होगी. So this is something new from that. This is an old love that she's sharing with you people only now. Do read this book.
Thank you, Mridula. Any observations from other side? I have known Sangeeta and read her poems for quite some time, and I believe that she is basically a mother. Like the direct thing that Mridula said, I also had that feeling that her feelings and her conveying feelings have been so direct as it hits you. And about the love things she has said, she has always been a repository of love.
that I have felt. And whether it is spiritual or not, I don't believe. I don't know what spiritualism is, but some kind of love she always floats herself in. And her poems have, Hindi में बोलने में I'm not very good in Hindi. एक तरल molten kind of emotion which really wraps you all together. And about you, it is like love. Your poems, I believe, is very layered, and I would love to read them. Again and again, and they're very love. While you had read those two also, it was quite very intense and very powerful. And some of the imagery, I must tell you, that like children, like grapes in a packet, and scoffs in the chocolates in a box, and this fingers on the piano. All these things would really struck me and will be there in my mind for quite some time. So I'd definitely love to read much more of you, and it's quite a nice discovery. You are a nice discovery for all of us. Thank you so much for coming up all the way and all the way and make us listen to you.
Don't wait too long to come back to Delhi. Yes, please.
Yeah, I have known Sangeeta for almost a decade, maybe more, and I've been seeing both her poems as well as her art, and she also got a bit into sculpture. So though she claims that she's a hard, tough income tax commissioner, I've never seen her perform as an officer, but I find it difficult to believe it. Because there is so much beauty in her paintings, so much of intricateness and so much of decorative quality, and so much of effort and so much of detailing that goes into it, and they're very abstract. And today, for the first time, I heard some humor in your poetry, So I think if there are some more, I would like to discover them. And Usha, you brought back nostalgic memories of my childhood, because my grandfather used to stay in Hyderabad. My father was posted also in Hyderabad. And my first posting in the government was also in Hyderabad. So I have wonderful memories of the kind of Hindi that was spoken there, Hyderabadi Hindi. It was called Urdu, but it has nothing to do with Urdu. नहीं बोले तो बोलेगा तो बोलता है, न कुछ है, all those words, they are so beautiful. This time I went to give a convocation address. One's roles change in life, in Hyderabad, and I found the city, everything is a flyover. The whole city is a flyover, and all those famous Madina hotel where you could get fantastic payas and all that. Everything is deteriorated. The famous Hyderabadi biryani.
It's there, Paradise Biryani.
Paradise. But Paradise is a faint recollection of that. And I used to move around in those winding lanes of Begum Bazaar. All that is gone. It's finished. It's just become an IT city, and it's lost its soul completely. So even I felt very pained when I saw the Hyderabad. Only when I went near Golconda, I found some remnant of the past and all that. Otherwise, it was like a shattered dream this time. So that point really evoked a lot of nostalgia for me. Unfortunately, I came late, so I couldn't hear enough of yours. Sangeeta, I have been hearing and reading for quite some time. But you are a discovery for me, and I have to read more of it.
Well, the beauty of poetry is that the Hyderabad of that kind that you are recalling and Usha is recalling, it will stay permanently in the poem. That will never be lost. Anyone? Yes, please.
I came a little late, so I'm so sorry I missed your poems altogether, but I was able to listen to some of Sangeeta ji's. And I feel it's a very strong spiritual element to her paintings, to her poems, and they were so beautiful. The roo rehti hai, that was really beautiful. And how it is untouched by our by our bodies really, it's there and goes on and on. It's so beautifully put. And And what I could make out about your poems, I think they brought back nostalgia, and I was transported back to my childhood, and how, you know, I grew up in Pune, not in Hyderabad, but in Pune, and how things have changed, and they're so disappointing, but yet you love to see them still with your rose-tinted glasses, you know, and you want to see them as being as lovely and as beautiful as they were. And I'd love to read your poems. I'm really sorry that I came in late. I got stuck in traffic, and I think I missed my time and got the wrong time, and I got stuck in traffic. But it was beautiful. And one last point I'd like to make is, you know, about your comment about balancing home and work. I think that each one of us has to find our balance. You know, each one of us has to find our thing, and creativity, yes, as she said, was, you know, you just have to have books and papers. That's the only way, and otherwise you miss out. You know, thoughts come to you. If you don't write them then and there, they're gone. Thank you.
Let me respond. I wanted to actually, if you don't mind, share a little publishing project that's happened for the first time in Indian publishing. Yesterday, 5 poets in a box, and there are 5 chapbooks, and this was done by these 2 literary magazines, Aina Nagar and Bayavya, and they sponsored this first project. And so these are the chapbooks. They're 16 to 32, and you can't buy one book at a time. These are the review copies, but they're going to be in a box. Yes, 5 different poets, and and it's called 5. The project is 5. It's never happened in Indian publishing before, and we released the books yesterday in one of the colleges at JNU, and all the 5 of us were there. I want to pass the collection around so you can all just take a look at it. And what I want to say is what is so commendable about this, the 2 editors who came up with this idea. I think most of you know, big publishers bring out 1 poetry book a year, and a lot of us are kind of stranded. You're wondering, how do we come out? How do we bring out work? And I think poets have to be very preemptive and very activist. And you have to learn to create your own platforms to put your work out there. And so this was the concept and project they came up with. And we worked for 2 years critiquing each other's work, sending poems back and forth, and it was a fantastic process. It took about 2 years.
Very beautiful idea.
And that's how it
This is a very beautiful thing. And it's a beauty, 5 words.
In a box, and many books, 16 to 30 pages.
What a lovely idea. For poetry publishing, this may be the right way to go, because all poets say that publishing poetry in India is very difficult.
Yes.
So maybe chapbooks is what we should be doing.
So
especially young poets, new poets find it very difficult to get into print.
It's very beautiful.
Very nice.
Most 4 of them are from here. They come on teaching stints to the US. So we were all over the globe. But for 2 years through the internet, through emailing, and we are very respectful, very friendly. We all became friends at the end of it. We didn't know each other at the beginning. And I got invited, and we sent poems, we critiqued, we edited. There were no hassles of someone's a big poet, low poet, medium poet. Just one poet to another without any kind of rank being pulled is how the project was.
So we can take one more, maybe if you could give us the names of the poets.
Oh yes, so I was one of them. Then Arjun Rajendran, Mihir Vatsa, he won the Srinivas Rai Parole Award 2 years ago. Nandini Dhar and Manjari Indurkar. And these are the first review poems. They're off the press, hot. We saw them for the first time. And I think in the next month they'll get the boxes ready. And they did another very beautiful thing. They're called broadsides, where you take one poem from one poet and you design a poster, maybe that size, and you sign each broadside, and it becomes like a keepsake that you can frame and put on the wall. Yeah, exactly.
So you can just hang it on the wall.
Exactly. Exactly. So we did that as well.
Well, we have time maybe for one short query or comment, then I'll round up.
First of all, listeners entirely.
This is a small soul.
It's your poems all together. Yeah, why don't you pass the one from Bhavan? Usha ji, I missed your poems entirely. A small poem, can I have the pleasure of...
So let's round up with one poem from the new book here and one poem from the new book here.
I'd like to say something. My father is in this room, and he wanted to ask the last question.
Please. Father always has the last word.
May I ask a relevant question? As a layman, I am asking one question. Which is more difficult, whether it is more difficult to write poetry or prose? I don't know how relevant is the question. As a layman, I am asking.
And your question is aimed at her or to both of you?
Partially. I think we should go for it. I can answer it at home.
You know, I had just said that, for writing prose you need lot of discipline. I think not necessarily. I somehow I'm always craving for time, and all my life has been like this in last 35 years. Craving for time. मुझे लगता था कि पोइट्री आ रही है तो कैसे भी लिखा जा सकता है, और मगर प्रोज लिखने के लिए मेरी किताब है, मेरी कहानियां भी हैं, मगर मैं उसको कंटिन्यू नहीं कर पाई। अब मैंने ट्राई किया तो एक किसी किताब की 40 पन्ने लिख के 4 महीने से एक पन्ना भी नहीं लिखा है। तो मैं अपने बारे में बता सकती हूँ कि मुझे लगता है कि मेरे लिए पोइट्री इजी है, पर वो जरूरी नहीं है कि बाकी लोगों के ऊपर भी अप्लाई होगा। आप बताओ।
I think it's a bit of a paradox. I think poetry comes more easier to me because it comes more easier, and I think prose, I have to work at the mechanics of language.
Depends on
It just depends, and I think it's easier.
If it is Vidnaji or Parvita, they will say writing prose is not so easy. I suppose it depends on the medium.
What's easier to write? Prose or poetry?
There's much I can't follow.
So
I followed you very easily. That's something already.
Because
I don't care. I have to read.
Can I ask you a personal question? Is Akella your name or is your name?
It's actually it's a Telugu surname, so it's not Akella. It's not Akella. It's Akella. There's a la. Usha A. Yeah, and it's not Akella. It's Akella. The la.
I thought I said very nice.
Yes, and I get a lot of jokes and poor jokes about it.
it works both ways. It works.
So I will do my rounding up comments now because I'd like the poets to have the last voice in this room. It's been a magnificent evening for all of us. Thank you very much, Usha, Akella, and Sangeeta, Gupta ji. It's really been evocative, beautiful, thoughtful, sensitive, and the way both of you picked up themes and resonances from one another has actually been in a lesson on how poetry just creates an environment of the imaginative and the creative universe. So I do want to, on behalf of all of us, thank you both very much, and thanks to Sahitya Akademi for organizing this evening. I would request all the audience to please stay. It will not take more than another 3 or 4 minutes. I would request Usha to read a poem from her new collection and Sangeeta to read a poem from her new collection. I will not speak again. But after that, I would request all of us to configure here and take a group photograph. It's something some of us like to keep as a record of a beautiful evening. So Usha first and then Sangeeta, then we will all converge here for a group photo.
I'll read this. I have a trilogy of poems. It's called Today's Poem, Tomorrow's Poem, and Yesterday's Poem. But I'll read only today's poem, and it's short. Today's poem wants to unlock the handcuffs of yesterday's poem that was called true poetry. Yesterday's poem is already a star-blinking light. Today's poem may be no more than the primal darkness the poet dreads. Today's poem knows it is no match for yesterday's poem. It may come hobbling on crutches. Today's poem is the wetness after the wave of yesterday's poem. Today's poem is not wise. It is a little afraid. Its voice is small, its embrace frail. It may clutch the robe of the poet with a small hand. It may ask the poet for refuge. Neither umbrella, rose or house. Today's poem may make no friends or even enemies. No strut in with the cerulean peacock flourish, and hop in uncertain with the dove's grey peace.
The poem which I am going to read is from this collection, बेपरवाह हूँ। सागर की सीने में दफना आई हूँ एक अधूरा अफसाना मोहब्बत का। सागर के सीने में दफना आई हूँ एक अधूरा अफसाना मोहब्बत का। कुछ अफसानों की उम्र नहीं होती, ताउम्र निभाना फितरत में सबके शामिल नहीं होता। कागज पर उकेरी नज़में पानी के हवाले कर देना, पानी स्याही के निशान भी मिटा देगा। वक्त साथ देता तो तुम्हारी सांसों पर नज़में लिख देती। मेरी आवाज़ हवाओं के हवाले कर देना, कहीं दूर बंजर के खुरदुरेपन में इजाफा तो करेंगी। तुम आज़ाद हो अब मेरी आवाज़ नज़में और हर्फ से तुम्हारी हद से निकल कर मैं बेहद हो गई हूँ।